not dey off in mind.
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Àṣírí ọ̀dẹ̀lú kì í kó níbẹ̀ o.
Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are joining us again. It is Mayegun live. Thank you so much for joining me again. To those of you who were with us this afternoon, thanks for coming back. And those who are just joining us for the first time today, you are also welcome. Thank you. What you have to do is read the caption of the broadcast and always read beyond the caption as well. Read the description of the broadcast. Share it, like it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, wherever they are. Tag them that Mayegun today.
Lórí Facebook. Lórí YouTube.
Nigeria is going through some reformation. It's like coming off circle, like, round in circle, right? It's coming in circle. The completion of the state, the process of the state capture is completed. The president is a drug dealer. Vice president is a terrorist. The chief justice is a career criminal. The senate president is a criminal, a treasury looter. On and on and on like that. The whole circle is almost complete, if not completed. So share this. Invite those that should be here, that should be listening to this. And if you are somebody who would love to be politically correct, this platform is not for you. Those of you who love your oppressors differently, this platform is not for you. Tell them Mutide. Mutide. And you are welcome back. So those of you who were part of us this afternoon. So good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you. From wherever you are joining us, it is Mayegun live. This afternoon, the Nigeria Senate, where you have the senators, they confirmed a career criminal, a career thief, that, the saying that whatever a man can do, obviously a woman can do even better. The new CJN was actually sworn in a few weeks back by Tifnumbu as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. And today, the criminals, the senators, led by Akpabiole and the likes of Oshiomole, they were able to confirm her, whereby she will be sworn in for the second time as a substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria. She has history, and her history in criminality is legendary. He was the chief judge that wrote the lead judgment on the Imo State governorship election that gave Imo State to a career 419, a 419er hopeless, Uzodimba, hopeless, Uzodinjo, and then open the floodgates to the terrorism that has been bedeviling the eastern part of Nigeria. The act of bloodletting, killings that has never been, that has never been witnessed before in the history of eastern part of Nigeria. The woman that gave the ruling is now the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Her name is Kekeriekun Agbaule. Now, she has been given a marching order. And the marching order is that a lot of people these days always condemn the judiciary. She needs to do something. And those who have been leading the charge of criticizing the judiciary in Nigeria, according to Akpabiole, are lawyers. Lawyers who believes that justice has been murdered in Nigeria judiciary, where you now have a judicial bandits, where judgment is always for the highest bidder in Nigeria, where, they used to say that the judiciary is the last hope of a common man, even the uncommon man too. But these days, it is now the bastion of criminality, where the highest bidder always carry the day. She has promised these criminals as well that don't worry, I will do my best. I will make sure that we punish any lawyer that goes on TV to criticize the judiciary, say anything about the judicial bandits in Nigeria. And somebody said, listen, if you are going to fight corruption in judiciary, as she posted today, then you would have to first admit that the judiciary is corrupt. One of the things that has bedeviled Nigeria, and in fact, the main thing that has bedeviled Nigeria is that justice is dead. The rule of law in Nigeria is dead. And the reason why you will never see any major investor in any critical sector of your economy bringing their own money into Nigeria is because nobody goes to a country where they do not have any rule of law, where institutions that were supposed to checkmate bad behavior are the ones leading the role in the bad behavior. So today, as it transpired in their National Assembly, just a few nitpicks of what she said, but the people of Imo State will never forget this. When somebody that came forth, who is now the terror-in-chief in Imo State, the one that has opened the floodgate of terrorism into eastern part of Nigeria, hopeless Usodimba, hopeless Usodinjo. He came fourth in an election, and few months after, this woman actually ruled that hopeless Usodimba should be sworn in as the governor of Imo State. The rest is history today. And the Imo people, including the people of eastern part of Nigeria, they are the living witness and witnesses to this horrible judgment. It was so bad. It was so bad that the compromised, supposed United States of America had to make a pronouncement. He was listed among those that must never apply for the US visa and must never be found in the US for our corruption. A rarity, something that the US barely do. They ended up announcing that this woman must not come to the United States of America. I mean, US is corrupt. We all know that. They don't give they don't give an F towards what you do to yourself in Africa. But it was so bad that they had to actually ban her from entering the US. The woman banned for life from entering the US is now the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Similarly, the druggie, Tifnumbu, the drug addict, the drug, the drug bandit as well. Tifnumbu, the drug dealer, is your president today. And with the immunity and the compromise on him, they can possibly go to America anytime they want now. That's actually not the case so far, yeah? So today, at their Senate, Kekeriekun Agbaule was confirmed. And in our words,
in order to ensure that the integrity of the judiciary is maintained, I will ensure that the code of conduct is fully complied with. I will ensure that there is zero tolerance for corruption. A senior member of the bar who has earned the rank of silk it's a privilege. It's not a right. And that privilege could be withdrawn if it is abused. So in any of these situations, the courts too will use their own powers. We do have powers where a matter is sub judice and somebody goes out in public on the television station, media, social media, to comment on those cases, because it does have a negative effect on the administration of justice, on how we handle our cases. Because when you then give a judgment, the way it is assessed is based on what has been in social media. But notwithstanding that, I would say that judges know the oath they have taken and will abide by that oath and not be influenced by social media. In order to...
You get that? They always have problem with the social media, all of them. Because you see, social media is a place where you can put them in front of the entire world. And social media is a place where some of the things they want buried will be unburied. And everybody can see them for who they are. Including sometimes, if we want to see all the transactions that transpire between them, social media is a place where it's always going to be open. They do not like that. And because they are people of yesterday, they consider the social media as a threat to burying some of their secrets. But your secrets are no longer buried. Unfortunately, you can enjoy the immunity you have in that contraption. The rest of the world knows that Nigeria has been captured and the whole process is complete. And a lawyer, supposedly a professor and lawyer, I believe, had this to say, that if you want to kind of gag people, okay, from making statements on the actions and inactions of supposed judges, corrupt judges, right, who have been given corrupt judgments as well, they do not want to be challenged. And, you know, you have to admit that you are corrupt. But that woman said she will fight the corruption in judiciary. Shoma Atini, who is deceiving who? Listen to this.
There's this wrong thinking that there's anything contemptuous discussing cases in court. I don't know where they read that book from. The Lord then himself says, you know, discussing cases before the court is nothing contemptuous. A judge is trained. The craft of judicial craft is basically about the capacity to overlook what's happening in the larger context. Right. You watch every day in the US top cases, analysts have the opinion, frame, oh, this case is, in fact, they start attacking justices of the justices in the case. Sometimes they say it's appointed by X, has this loyalty. That's not their business. I'm worried about why public officials' first instinct is to clamp down on speech. Right. Of everything wrong with the judiciary, with practice in Nigeria, what concerns the Senate president is how to punish people who are saying this case is on this case. It's a right of legal scholars and legal practitioners to do two things. They can discuss. See, you can't discuss the cases in a manner that you are constraining the judges. But if you discuss the cases before or after judgment, it's within fair speech and it's not contemptuous. Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about some of the points she's made. She says it's going to be zero tolerance for corruption under my watch. Can she rescue the judiciary on that score?
She can if she's really committed to it.
What would she need to achieve that?
I think first she should just tell herself like this court is corrupt. We've heard it as a senior lawyer. I've said that. Many judges will say, "Oh, why say so?" But that's the truth. Facts, anecdote, proven evidence. Even the NJC's proceeding trial of judges and lawyers and sanctions tell a story of very clear corruption. And even the report by NBS and UN. DOJ.
Judiciary is number two?
Number one, actually.
Actually, overtook the police.
Number one. They took the over. So it's a corrupt institution. So she can save it if she first admits to herself.
The reality.
And the collective culpability of all of us who are judges and lawyers. Of course, not everybody is corrupt. The second thing she has to do really is to be clear in her mind what she wants to her legacy. Is it a legacy of the court colluding with those in authority to suppress the people? to look for people like us who are saying the truth and try to fight us. Or is it a legacy of clean the court? Oftentimes they say it takes
cleaning the organs table.
As people say it takes a Nixon to go to China.
Right.
It takes an insider like her who has gone through the magistrate process, probably to clean the institution that she is. Nobody can accuse her of being an outsider. So I think she can do that, but she has to come to realism and forget this Nigerian nonsense of attacking the messenger.
She also promises to insulate the judiciary from external influences, while emphasizing that she will advocate for better welfare. I recall President Tinubu has just increased by about 300%.
And they're trying to give 40 houses or thereabout to judges. Look, we should be very clear about this welfare thing. I mean, judges are not the worst paid people. So it's not an excuse for corruption. Secondly, stopping interference. The first thing you should do is to take back the judiciary from the executives. For example, start with new by-year commencement. We shouldn't be having politicians and judges commingle so easily. I mean, that's the thing you have to.
That's his thing. In Nigeria now, judges and politicians, they are friends. The Olukayode, or what is that old criminal's name again? The one that left before her, is a pal with politicians. You will see him invited to different luncheon, dinners, organized by Willie Wike and other politicians. Chief Justice. So you will see judges hobnobbing, laughing, clicking glasses with politicians. And politicians on the other hand, they said that we need to take care of our judges. As they are building houses for them, they are also awarding contracts to their children. And so many of them have had their salaries increased by 300%. Recently, Willie Wike just got approval yesterday to build another 40 new houses at the choice areas for judges in Abuja. All this bribery thing have shown that forget it, the judges and the politicians are the same. And you will never get any justice in any of their courts where these politicians' interests is involved. And also, except for those who are so naive, who believe that she is coming to fight corruption. Stop that. Fight corruption, fight corruption. Corruption, fight corruption? Of course not. One of those that gave her a marching order, a politician, a criminal, was Adamu Oshiomhole, the ones that just carried out electoral haste in Edo. And right there and then, we will confirm you, Madam Justice. But we want you to look into this.
When we complain of crowded court, the courts only adjudicate based on the judicial confined on it by Parliament. For example, when my case went to court, as a governor or governorship dispute, the law then was that cases are terminated at the Court of Appeal. The National Assembly, in its wisdom, chose to remove that bar and say the cases must now terminate at the Supreme Court. So we can't overload the vehicle and then blame the driver for carrying overload. But there are a couple of issues that I believe many of us, distinguished senators, must be aware of. That depending on the party you belong, at the level of the state judiciaries, people tend to prefer, talking about forum shopping, to file cases before Federal High Court, particularly if it's a case in which you believe the state governor or the state government may have an interest. And how we deal with this, how the Chief Justice of the Federation can encourage judges in the states to show the same level of courage to pronounce where it's so discovered that a state government or a state interest, a state governor has crossed the red line. But people should feel able to go to a state high court and get justice. I don't want to rush to federal high court because of the fear that judges, in many cases at the state level, don't want to enter judgment that will be offensive to the state executive. That is recently in the state, and for obvious reasons, I won't mention the state. The National Judicial Council approved the appointment of new judges, which is in line with the Constitution. But the state governor in Benin decided, I didn't mention him, I mentioned a city. A state governor in Benin refused to swear in. Excuse me.
You are protected. You did not mention the state. You only mentioned Benin.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Benin is not a state.
That's right. So, as we speak, those judges were not sworn in, even though they have been cleared by the National Judicial Council. When I was a governor, sir, there was a case, a judgment against the state government. But because the governor has immunity, the judge decided to sentence, to convict the Attorney General for contempt of court. So I'm like, if a state governor disobeys a ruling of a superior court, and because the governor has immunity, there is nothing you can do, I would have expected that the Attorney General will be charged for contempt of court or showing disrespect to the National Judicial Council, so that the discretion we exercise should not be abused to the extent that all of the processes that the National Judicial Council goes through to select and approve and forward to the governor for ratification. I am sure, Mr. President, you approve many such recommendations, not necessarily because you like the persons, but in the wisdom of the National Judicial Council, they've cleared them. So I thought that there might be, like to know whether a legislation is required or the Supreme Court, being a policy court, what it can do to help to curtail abuse of power at the level of the state. And lastly, there was this case of Mr. I don't know whether I should mention his name, a guy who was sentenced to 3 years in prison, up to the Court of Appeal. And the Supreme Court found that this was a criminal case that had to do with somebody who operated.
Anyway, just so you shall know that a bunch of criminals are the ones that are confirming judges or justices or Chief Justice of Nigeria. So you can see the assemblage of crook. If Nigeria justice system or criminal justice system is working, I can promise you this, 90% of those inside that room, including the woman they are confirming, they will be in jail, no doubt. But it is Nigeria. Criminals don't go to jail. In Nigeria, the bigger your crime, or the bigger or massive your criminal life, the bigger the reward, the better the reward. Nigeria is a place where criminality is rewarded. You just need to kind of weigh the level of criminality you want to, yeah? For instance, we now have a situation where the same EFCC, an agency of government, has been going left, right, and center explaining to us why they could not actually arrest this criminal, Yeye Bello. He is called Yahoo Bello now, by the way. So, Yeye Yahoo Bello or Yahoo Bello, according to the EFCC, they have now amended Yahoo Bello's charges. According to them, before now, Yeye Bello was being sort of wanted for stealing 80.5 billion naira of Kogi State money. Kogi State has no drinking water. More than 90% of Kogi roads are unmotorable. They do not have any good healthcare system. There is no good education system. But yet, one single person stole over 110 billion. And all we get is for the EFCC explaining to us on TV why they are still looking for him and why it is difficult to get him.
Yahaya Bello, in appearing at the car park of the EFCC on the 18th of September this month, I think we will have a better understanding of what transpired on that day when we reviewed what really happened. For instance, even before Yahya Bello arrived at the car park of the EFCC, he had already sent out media information across all the platforms that he had presented himself to the EFCC, and they were even saying that he has been detained. And that was not true. At the time that information got across, Yahya Bello was not even in the premises of the EFCC. He had not even arrived there. So that for us was an indication that he had a game plan, which was not a matter of just merely submitting himself to the commission. And that game plan can only be explained by himself alone. And from our review of what really happened, it was simply a case of the former governor, the current governor,